Let us know what it is that you teach and where it is that you teach it. I'm so excited. So I see some names that were here last week at Shop Talk for part 1 of this being serious about fun thing and questioning the whole idea about fun in the French classroom. Some of you I know were unable to make it. So I guess what I was going to ask you was, by any chance, were you able to watch the YouTube video? That's going to be my question for you. Were you able to catch Shop Talk on YouTube, the recorded version? Okay. Perfect, Marla. Awesome. So welcome everybody. Vanessa, Ashley, Andrea, Margaret, tout le monde, bonsoir. So what we're going to do today is our intention is to continue from where we left off last Sunday. That's the intention today. Kind of fast forward here. We're going to start right away. If more people come, that's great. But what we've agreed to do, of course, is to record this. So be careful what you say. No, we've agreed to record this. So the good news is that those people who might miss this will be able to catch up with us and be able to see both parts of the series. Now, I'm hoping that we can get done, but I don't really care as long as we have fun. We have another great week ahead. I just activated all your pens in case we need to use our pens. But anyways, we have another great week ahead with our students, and we want to talk about what are some cool things that maybe we can do with them. So I hope that you're going to get some good ideas from this. I hope that you're going to be able to harvest and glean from these different things as we actually tear through this particular book right here and have some more fun. So let's get to it. Remember to stay connected. We always say that. That's the most important thing. One day, I think what I'd love to do, what would I love to do? I'll tell you what I'd love to do. I would love to do a shop talk and talk about the last 30, 40 years of French and how it's changed. I would love to talk about that. And the one thing that you would find out if you are kind of new, a newer French teacher, is that things were much, much different. Particularly in the 80s and the 90s, things were much, much different. As far as board level support, these days there's a lot of school districts that do not have a French coordinator or an FSL consultant or anything like that. And a lot of French teachers are on their own. The best thing we could do is just to stay in touch. And thankfully with social media, we can actually do that. So that's a positive thing about social media, is we can use it for good. Yay. All right. So, of course, we thank our Shop Talk partners, particularly the French Playground, because the French Playground is where we get to meet and do things together with our students. I mean, like, hello, we don't even have to be alone anymore when we're in the classroom. That's pretty cool. Okay, so part 2, fun in the French classroom with a question mark. Okay, so part 2, and here is the link. I decided just to put this up here. So if you did not catch this, at Étienne two, okay, or you can go on to DJ Delft, so /DJ Delft or at DJ Delft on Instagram is another option. And there you're going to find posts with that YouTube link if you've missed part 1. Most of what you missed was the whole talking about whether or not there is room for fun in the classroom, whether fun should exist. Because we are now, because we're connected through social media, we talk so much about pedagogy and so much about a lot of serious issues that the question was, is there room for fun anymore? So that's what we talked about. Let us pick up where we left off, and we're going to have some fun. So a quick reminder, this book that we're tearing apart in order for us to glean best practices from is broken up into 4 categories: 50 points, 100 points, 500 points, and 1,000 points. 50 points and 100 points ones are things that students do on their own. You can create centers and the students can work on these individually. 500 points are ones that they do in pairs or groups. And 1,000 points are things that they do as a class. So let's have some fun. There's a list of all the 40 missions that are in there. This is the sheet that you would provide students ahead of time, and they would be working to try to earn these. And then when they earn a mission, it doesn't have to be in any particular order, You simply can stamp it or initial it or put a gold star. It doesn't matter how you do it, but they can just keep track. Can these things be done for marks? Absolutely. Each one of the sections comes with rubrics, which you can ask for the Word versions and you can change the things. That's easy. Okay, so we're going to fast forward through time. You can catch up on the YouTube video for part 1 to see what we did for the first few. But here is number 15. So basically, I'll introduce it to you. You ask me if you have any questions, share your thoughts, and then if we like it, then we move on. Okay. So this one here is interesting because we've talked about grammar, how grammar is something that we have to be careful with. We try not to teach only grammar. A whole full semester, if you're a high school teacher like I am, of grammar just won't do everybody a lot of good. Same with traduction. I can't think of the English word. Translations. Yes, thank you. So the problem is with translations is there's so many things you can do. You can spring forward. You can like springboard off of it, and it's really, really great. But again, it's not something you want to do probably singularly, although I have been on forums and see that particularly in places like the UK, I find that translation is actually still extremely popular and can be the meat of a lot of teachers teaching. This particular one just asks them to find a popular song, hopefully an appropriate one, and basically you want to encourage them to translate the song that is English, or it could be Spanish, or it could be whatever other language other than French, and put it into French, and then have them sing just the melody of what the chorus would sound like in French. They can film themselves singing it, or they can perform it for you if they wish, and then you can give them that absolute mark using that rubric if you wish, or your own. So it's a chance for them to share with you a bit of them. So something, a music song that they like. It could be any style. It could be Dixie band. It could be anything. You might be very, very surprised by some of the music that your students listen to. Okay. So that is basically essentially it. They'll just write the song. They'll work it out. What I like about it is they're going to be listening to a song. Well, of course, that'll be not in the French part, but they'll actually be writing, and they'll have to be doing a little bit of work with the grammar. It's something that you can also springboard and discuss with them, and then they're going to hopefully have some fun with it. Okay, it's okay to have some fun, I think. So we've kind of proven that, I thought, last week. So I'm more bold in my ability to say, let's have some fun with it. Seems pretty simple, but at least the format is done for you. All right, number 16. Okay, so number 16, and what's cool about this too is that when you get this, you can get the hyperlinks actually work on PDF, which is kind of cool. So if you were to pass off a PDF form from yours and the students take it with it, they just click on the video and it'll work great. This here is one of my favorites, actually, of Étienne songs. This song is called Des verbes irréguliers au passé composé. Why I like it is the students are able in like 2 or 3 times, they just have to sing it 2 or 3 times, I swear to you. It's awesome. All these irregular verbs, this song has them memorize, and learn all the participe passé, which is really fantastic. It is an annoyingly bizarre song, but it works, and that's all that matters for me as a teacher for results. And the students are so grateful because they actually have it down. So what this song is going to do is their challenge to film themselves, memorize and film themselves, or recite it in front of you, this entire list 2 times, no time limit, okay, to earn a full 100 points for this 100-point mission. The great thing about it is it's basically tricking them or forcing them to actually do these, to memorize them. And there we go. So if some of you aren't familiar with the song, this is the one right here. I'll just put it up here. And you might not be able to hear it, but again, you can just click on the link and you can go to YouTube and you can go from there. Okay, so that is that one. Awesome. Next one. Okay. Now, some of us teach in situations where we actually can't assign homework. So number 17, I like because now it's giving me an opportunity to do that. In Canada, where we teach, of course, we're a bilingual nation, so we will see a lot of French, particularly in Ontario, where everything has to be English and French. And that comes right down to products that we have on our shelves, things at home. So basically, this assignment has the students go through their cupboards, and they have to find lists of ingredients on boxes, on packages, on cans, everywhere. And they have to find French words for these particular things. Not just quite simply going to Google Translate and trying to quickly translate them. They are going to have to also identify the product upon which they found the box. So the basic idea is flour. So they need to go and see if there's any flour in the house, and then they can go to the flour thing package, turn around, figure out what the French word for flour is, write that down, and then write down the product name. Students will do this for homework. It might take them 5-10 minutes. I'm not sure how long it might take them. And then when they come back the next day, it's a great springboard for discussion. And just to see, did everybody find this on Lucky Charms? So then you get to have discussions about different products that the kids have, and food habits, and healthy eating. And there's just so many things that can springboard from this in real life, authentic, spontaneous conversations, which we like to promote. And this is done for you. So you just photocopy it and go, or you can maybe post it up or whatever, however it is that you guys communicate with your students. But a lot of people are always asking, what can I assign for homework? But I think this is something that they can handle. Oh, wow. Andrea, awesome. Okay, so Andrea just gave a really good idea. So using this one in a week or so. Okay, cool. But you can also compare and graph the results, which is awesome. So you can add numeracy to this and actually graph the results and talk about things. Oh, that is fantastic. I love that. This would work well also if you're doing a food unit. If you're a DJ Delft fan, for example, if you're doing Au Café Delft, that would be a really good opportunity to plug this in here and do that. Or even Mâchonet typique, because these are type of things that you are dealing with every day. Or even Faison du shopping if you wanted to turn it around and make it about shopping for food. Number 18. This one is les mesures. So this one actually happens to deal with numbers as well. So they have to find these particular things in their home. If not, if they don't have a microwave, for example, they can just microwave oven. They can just simply go online and try to find the measurements for it and then plug that in. This will also be an interesting discussion later about how big is your fridge? Is your fridge unnecessarily large? How big are your suitcases? You can have discussions about how much stuff can you pack in a suitcase. There's so many springboards when you're doing real things, right? Which I completely believe in. That's why I did the DJ Delft Kit thing, because I've been doing real things with my students for 25 years. And so it makes things make more sense to students, particularly if you teach in Ontario. We have a different breed of students where we teach in Ontario, Canada, than I've noticed from talking with French teachers throughout the world, to be honest with you. In Ontario, French is mandatory from generally grades 4 through 9 in core French. And sometimes there is resentment there that stems from parents. The fact that students are being, quote unquote, forced to learn French. So we try to do real things in class because it just shows the students that, maybe there is a real life application to this. This particular sheet is a lot of fun. So you can do a lot of things about teaching length and height and breadth and width and all the things like that while going over all these things. Okay, Linda says, take this a step farther and make it authentic. Students can add a few, maybe 3 of their own products. Hopefully a few lines can be added. Absolutely. I would absolutely have them do that. That's something that we always do in the DJ Delft Kit. We always add the ... And as you can see, there's lots of room here. So I would ask them to do it. Okay, awesome idea, Linda. Talk about real life applications. This one you might really, really like. If your students are lower level, meaning they're beginner students, I would do this particular mission together with them as a class. So rather than have them do it by themselves, or I'd have them do it in partners, okay? So they can help sort of figure it out together. And yes, Margaret, absolutely. So this idea was taken right from Faison du shopping from DJ Delft Kit, but we can actually use it as a mission, which is really powerful. So we're going to give them $300 to spend, and whenever you just start with that, they're automatically hooked. So give them $300 imaginary dollars to spend, and they have to complete this order form. And what's great is they're going to be playing with the vocab. All right. So price, material, colors, quantity, size, actual articles. What's great, which of course not every order form is going to hold all these things, but you can see this is really great. It has options for colors, size, and materials, and the coding, which is actually universal coding, by the way, for these things. Then when you move over to the actual price section, you can see the idea of the subtotal, the shipping, the taxes, a little bit of reality in life. Okay, so, and then there's the total. Okay, absolutely, Linda. If you just gave them this on their own and told them to fill it in with whatever type of products that they want to, then absolutely I would have them include a picture of the products that they chose. Or what you can do is, fortunately, this book comes with, I believe, yes, it does. So there are items here, and you can see the prices, and this is really great because then the students can talk about, you know, what kind of things can you buy with $300? Can you even, how many items can you possibly purchase? So there can be some great conversations. And what's great about this particular catalog page is it includes not only the price, but the size, the material, and colors that are optional. And, oh, Andrea, I love you. Okay, look at this. Check this out. She's saying, so we looked at some comparisons between euros and dollars. And one of the bonus questions was to visit a specific store and spend money and print the pictures thereof. So yes, absolutely. So this will give more practice for your students in such an activity. And if your students are lower beginners, there is this vocab sheet that is optional for you to give to the students. If you're not comfortable with that, you certainly do not have to do that, but it is there for you as well. And it's good to have that support and good to have options. Options are good. All right, so this is something, again, that they can do for homework, something they do in class. Imagine them doing it in centers as they're going from one station to another. There's so many things you can do because you already have this order form, and you could put out real catalogs if you have collections of real catalogs out on the tables, and then the students can look through them and they can do it at their own pace. I want to encourage people to use these type of activities at any time of the year. I get questions about the DJ Delft kit. The people go, okay, which DJ Delft life aspect, which is we're like units, right? Which life aspect should I start with? And they'll go, well, I can't do Je me présente because it's not the beginning of the school year. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Yes, you can do Je me présente in June. You can do it at the end of the year. You can do it in the middle of the year. You can do it at the beginning of the year. And the same thing with this type of an activity. It gets them up moving and talking, Marla, exactly. And they have to find somebody that has that particular thing, somebody who has a pet, somebody who speaks more than 3 languages, is wearing blue in their shirt, or just simple things like that, has traveled south of the equator, things like that, right? And you just get them up and talking and doing that. I think that would be a really great idea. Another activity is to assign this as homework. Okay, if you're writing, some people write stuff down for shop talk, and if you're writing this down, please write this down particularly. Have them, they can't include anybody in the classroom. So their homework assignment is to find friends their age outside. So they'll have to ask at the cafeteria, they'll have to ask in their other classes, because they won't just have French that day. They're going to have math or English or history and geography. So if you are a DJ Delft Kit fan, you will recognize these skits with interchangeable vocabulary, except that the vocabulary has been changed around. So they're not the same skits that you see in your DJ Delft Kit. They are jumbled, which is great, which is going to give your students more practice. What I love about these here, so these are now pair or group activities, mainly pair because there's 2 speakers in these particular sketches, but they can practice these and then create their own with as many people as they possibly want to. That's completely up to them. But if you've never seen these, what I like about these is that they are skits with interchangeable vocabulary. So these little numbers correspond to these categories down here. And so, je fais de la photographie can become de la natation, du ski alpin, des projets, du shopping, des devoirs, or, as we always like to do, give them a choice to add their own as well. So every time that they practice a sketch like this with a partner, they can actually change the age, they can change the city where they live, they can change the activities that they like or dislike, and it becomes a completely different story each and every time. So I love plays. Plays are fun. Plays give students an opportunity to practice the words that were produced by the author of the play. But I like even more sketches with interchangeable vocabulary because it becomes a living play that changes all the time. So each time you open it up, it's like Narnia for French students. Okay, so then they're going to write their own. And don't forget, this comes with a rubric and things like that. And they're going to need to obviously write more on another piece of paper. So this indicates that right there. So please continue on another paper plus. Okay, but so the whole je me présente, all that vocabulary, basically talking about yourself and asking key questions to gather information about another person, is what this particular sketch is all about. And so they'll perform that for you, and that's mission number 21. Now you can see it's getting a little bit more upgraded. It's getting a little bit more upgraded. Now, you, of course, if you're teaching beginner level students, might just want to concentrate on one of these and spend 3-4 days on it and just use this as a great activity for the students to cover this mountain of really useful vocabulary. That's what I like about these missions in the 20s here, is it's filled with very useful vocabulary. This one is Majonet Spik. So this is about describing everyday type activities. All right. So if you've never used the DJ Delft kit before, this would be an awesome introduction. So imagine these type of activities. Now this, again, is not the same sketch that is in your DJ Delft kit book. The vocab has been all switched around. So that's the second one. Next one is un jeu des contraires. All right. So this one here is basically taking verbs that are opposites. So I read, I write, I sit down, I get up, I open, I close. What's some other? I run, I walk. Things like that. And there are some suggestions. They're the ones that are in the skits, obviously, but then there's some more down here at the bottom. And it's a great activity for your students to practice je statements. If you're wondering why je statements, it's because the majority of statements that human beings make, particularly teenagers, are I statements because the world does revolve around them, in case you didn't know. They are the center of the universe. That is actually a scientifically proven fact, in case you did not know that. So that's there for them. They will enjoy that. They get to make je statements. I'm just teasing. Teens are awesome. And preteens. Okay. The next one is au café. Now they're in a cafe and they're practicing serving food, ordering food, the whole 9 yards. And you've got your entrees, your boisson, your dessert, your just everything. Yeah, just everything. You can see there's a really, really good list of vocab that they can work through. And it's something that, of course, if you have more beginner students, you could work through the vocab ahead of time just to prepare them. And if not, have them jump right in if they're ready for it. After au café, suivez mes directions, which is a really fun one as far as your students navigating maps, streets, type situations, giving instructions and following instructions as far as navigation goes. So they become little human GPSs. And every time what they're supposed to do is supposed to practice these sketches, change up the vocabulary to get an idea of how it works, and then what they do is they will create their own sketch, which they can keep true to the ones that they practiced by even just creating a new one by changing just the vocabulary, or rewriting it completely if they're ready and at that level. So it's a good, again, for the practice of spontaneous conversations. If you live in a school district where you are doing the Delft test, or you're teaching CEFR, this is exactly what will help them train for the Delft test, which is the Diplôme éducatif de la langue française. So that is the little bilingual certificate type thing. Okay, so Linda says, just a little note about the DJ Delft au Café Delft. It was super to hear the grade 5 core French kids sing the lyrics, karaoke style, perfectly. Good times. Awesome. That is very cool to hear. La guerre des compliments is a nice, fun activity if you believe in positivity. This is a sketch that's absolutely chock full with activities and things that people do, but also compliments. So adjectives like, or are they adverbs? I don't know. Superbe, fabuleux, magnifique, génial, extraordinaire. Just different things like that. And so this is a lot, and that's why I kind of like this missions thing, is because they can tackle a mission, and then you can assign another one, maybe a week later or the next month or whatever. It could be done as part of your program or a more meatier part of your program, however you want to do it, because there's just 40 challenges to be done. That's a lot. Faison du shopping. Okay, so this is where they practice ordering and filling orders, very much related to that order form that you saw earlier, which is really cool. The reality part of it, the real based authenticness of it, is what's going to help encourage your students to keep on with the French and to understand why they're there with you. Being able to talk about the countries and nationalities of people is really important in our continued growing melting pot. So this is a fantastic way for students to even express where they're from and their ancestry. So it's great practice there. Défilé de mode. Now this one here comes with an actual vocab with the ability, a list with the ability for them to add more to it here. And they can borrow vocab too from the order form as another option that I was thinking about when I was looking at this earlier today. But this is for literally for a fashion show, and somebody had mentioned a fashion show before, so this is really cool. Missy says I used it, so that is cool. So they basically have to plan out the fashion show and then describe as the models are going up and down the runway. There's just so much fun that you can have with this. Okay, so Andrea writes, okay, whoa, Brainwave, I love Shop Talk for this too. What if the missions were on a bingo card that once they could complete and cross them off and they get a class prize? Andrea, I like your Brainwave. So why don't we skip up? So we're on page 82 right now. So Andrea, let's go to the actual sheet and let's test your theory. All right. Can we make this into our own? I think we can. So here's the sheet, Andrea. What do you think? Do you think we can almost bingo size this ourselves? I don't know. I think we can. We could have them say you must do whatever. So there must be, one of this, one of that, one of this one. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think, Andrea? Let me know. And you mix them up. Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely. The 30-point missions. These are the ones that we do as a whole class. Okay. But I need to explain this so that you can understand this, because I realize that if it's the first time you're doing it, it might be a little confusing. This game can be played with 2 or 4 players. Let's just say with 2 for right now, okay? Each team or each person picks a starting corner. So either crayon, stylo, pupitre, or bureau, okay? So let's say that player 1 starts with crayon and player 2 starts with bureau. All right. Connections can be made diagonally or wherever. Once a box is occupied, no other teams, the other person, if you're doing it, well, do it as teams. I would divide your class into 4 or divide your class into 2 and have them do this. It's another way of doing it. Or the kids can play one-on-one. But once a box is gained by either, you could play a translation game, or you could have, I don't want you to do more work, but if you made up picture cards that had the same faces and pictures of this vocab, and they had to hurry up and find it and raise their hand up to show that they know the matching thing. That would be another way of occupying the box. The way I would encourage is by the use of a sentence. So if to show the word, you have to put the word into a sentence and say it. And then you could go even further, and by saying, yes, thank you, very good, Andrea, give them specific verbs they have to use, or make them do it in the imperative form, or use different tenses, or using negatives. I love doing lessons on negatives, teaching kids that it's just not ne pas, that there's ne plus, there's ne guère, there's ne, all the other ones, right? So you can rate the level up to grade 12. You could do this with grade 12 students, my friends. You could do it, I want to see this in the negative form, in the imperative, subjunctive. Huh. Yeah. All right. So in order to get a box. So everybody automatically gets their first box, let's just say, or they have to earn it, however you want to play it. But say I am on the yellow team and I want to get chaise, I will have to follow the teacher's instructions. Yeah, absolutely, Linda. You can give a length of word thing. So the team would work together to come up with the perfect thing. So la chaise est trouvée au coin de la salle de classe. Okay, the chair is found in the corner of the classroom. That one is perfect, so they obtain that box. Then the next team goes maybe straight down. Oh, just so you're understanding, the idea is to get to the direct diagonal opposite end. So the crayon team is trying to get to stylo. The bureau team is trying to get to pupitre. Does everybody understand that part? I want to make sure that you understand that. Can you give me a oui if you get that? It's really important. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. And so what you're doing is you're earning boxes along the way. But I want to show you something. First of all, if they're wrong, they don't get that box, and it's the other team's turn. Second of all, if you group your team into, divide your class into 4 teams, you're playing with 4 teams, and this game becomes much more intense. But let me just show you with 2. So say they're going along and they're doing this. I want to show you that even though the yellow team wants to get pupitre, I want to show you that they can be a bunch of jerks, and they can do this, and they can do this. And if they're doing that, that means that if these guys were heading this way, where can they go now from livre? Where's the only way they can go to start to make their way back to stylo? Exactly, part. And then crée. But if the yellow team keeps an examen, then if these guys take directrice, then they got to go down one more time. And so then they're going to start to go. So there's strategy in this game. There is mega strategy in this game. And I will tell you that I stole this idea from the song Mon Mamé from Étienne. There is a great tic-tac-toe Mon Mamé game. Has anybody tried this before? I mean, it started back in the 90s. Some of you weren't even born in the 90s. But the Mon Mamé tic-tac-toe, and Mon Mamé is one of the new songs. It's going to be on, or one of the songs that's being done on the new album, being done by Nate Vedette and Guitariste. So you got to check that out when it comes out in the summer. But basically, it's the same idea. So what you may not realize right now is whether you're playing with 2 people or 2 teams or the ultimate, which is 4 teams. This will become a huge game of basically like Survivor, okay, and chess, all mixed into one. The reason I say Survivor is what you're going to have is, I want you to imagine now, if you would, that there was 2 other teams. And this, 2 other teams. And this was the red, what happened to my pen? Sorry, the red team down here. And I want you to imagine that they were heading this way. And I want you to imagine there was the green team. And they were heading this way. Well, do you see that it's going to get pretty blocked up pretty soon? And when I say Survivor, it's because you're going to have teams that are going to start to make alliances. Yep. And it is amazing to watch the dynamics as these kids figure out the strategy of, you know what, if the red team and the blue team green team, work together, they can make sure that the pink team does not succeed in their current path. It's really, really, it's just funny to watch. So they get so caught up in the game that they don't even realize how much French they're actually practicing. Does everybody get that? If you get that and if you like it, please give me a oui, because this is one of my favorite games and I really encourage you to try this. I really, really encourage you to try this. So yes, so you can, the question was, do you provide the vocab in advance? You absolutely can do that. You can go over the vocab in advance with them, and you can do it whatever way that works for you best. Or if you know your students know this and it's a review, that's great. So they're using familiar vocabulary, but you are increasing it by adding negatives, the imperative form, different tenses, things like that. All right, so let's go. Ashley says, my students are so competitive. This could get interesting or blow up in my face. Guess what we're playing this week? Absolutely. Ashley, my friend Ashley, let me ask you something. And everybody here in attendance, let me ask you something, because it's almost 8 o'clock and we're going to have to stop. There's going to have to be a part 3, unfortunately. Would this not be even more fun if, Ashley, we did this live on the French playground? Which is where these missions came from. I want you to imagine my school, your school. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. My school, your school. If we had 4 schools that could meet together, we just pick a time. We meet together and we played this game together under whatever rules we all agree upon. And then we play this beautiful game, and then we see exactly how it goes. That way, actually, it won't have to blow up in your face. We'll be working together, and it won't blow up in anybody's face. What you're going to see is you're going to see students from all over the world, because we all teach in different corners of the world here. We have people on Shop Talk from Dubai, from Ireland, from all over the place. So imagine French students, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, no matter what race, religion, creed they are, working together. I think that's awesome. Okay, so unfortunately, we have to stop here. Thank you so very much for joining us again here on Shop Talk. So have fun with these in class. Enjoy them. If you are interested in getting them, if you have the DJ Delft kit, of course, you are privy to the 50% off with the booster pack number 17, which is awesome. But this is the website that you go to. It is educorock.com. And go to the resources section. You could type it in as well. And there it is, $39.99 Canadian. Or if you have the GDLF kit code, of course, you can get your discount that you earn as a member. Have a great, great week, and say bonjour to your students from Étienne, DJ Delft.